Good morning, everyone. So now I am going to discuss the levels of learning in the psychomotor domain by Mori, 1998. So these are the three levels of learning in the psychomotor domain. First, precision. Second, manipulation. Third, imitation. So precision, accuracy, proportion, and exactness exist in the skill performance without the presence of the original source. So it means students can perform a skill independently. So next, the manipulation. It is guided via instruction to perform a skill. So it means when you perform a skill, you need the instruction to follow. And then next, the imitation, observing and copying someone else. So this means students can carry out the rudiment skills via instructional support from the teacher. So this topic we are going to present to you, but we don't need to discuss. These are the cognitive domain, taxonomy, classification. So the next topic is how to write lesson objectives. So learning objectives ideally describe a direction for the students acquiring new knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So as a teacher, formulating a good lesson objective is crucial to good teaching, because formulating a good lesson objective, you need to be smart to your lesson. So the meaning of SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, result-oriented, and time-bounded. So the specific, what learner will be able to do by the end of the lesson. Measurable, provide the students with what is expected of them within a course. Next is attainable, something your learner have a chance of completing or satisfying. Result-oriented, objectives should focus on the results rather than the process or activities that students are going to complete. Time-bounded, if the learner's goal is to somehow gain knowledge by the end of a lesson and be able to retain and or apply the knowledge later. So the following characteristic of objectives by Magyar, 1998. Number 1, it describes student performance. It doesn't say anything about what instruction will do or try to accomplish. It doesn't describe course content or the textbook. So this means the learning objectives, it describes student performance. So learning objectives should be student-centered. So as a teacher, when you're writing learning objectives, you make sure the focus is always on the student. We should always describe what the student will be doing, not you will be teaching or what your instruction look alike. Number 2, an objective is about ends rather than means. It describes a product of instruction rather than the process of instruction. It describes what the students will be able to do when they are competent, rather than describing how will they be made competent. So learning objectives, which reflects the end that we are trying to achieve on the lesson, rather than the means objectives, which are important ways to achieving them or a lesson. So the objectives describe also the outcome of the instruction, rather the way of a process of instruction. An objective is always states what a learner is expected to be able to do and or produce to be considered competent rather than how well someone would have to perform to be considered competent. Number 3, an objective describe the condition under which the performance occurs on the job. Example, the tools, equipment, environment, and circumstances that will influence the performance. So this means the objectives describe what a learner will be doing once demonstrating mastery of the objective. Example, the students or a teacher using a tool or equipment to present their topic. Like example, you will discuss the microscope. So you bring the real microscope to present to your learner. So a statement of a performance always begins with an action that is linked to the type of task to be learned. Sometimes the environment and circumstances will influence the performance of the teacher or the learners because of the noisy environment, the physical arrangement of the classroom. So number 4, an objective describes the standards of acceptable performance, tells how well someone must perform before considering competent on that objective. This means an objective describes how well the learner must perform in order to be acceptable. So now we are going to discuss the guiding principles in the selection and organization of content. One guiding principle related to subject matter content is to observe the following qualities in the selection and organization of content. So first, the validity. So this means teaching the content that we ought to teach according to national standards explicit in the K-12 basic education curriculum. It also means teaching the content in order to realize the goals and objectives of the course as laid down in the basic education curriculum. So validity, so it means it refers to the authenticity of the subject matter or content you selected. Make sure that the topics are not obsolete. So next, the significance. What we teach should respond to the needs and interests of the learners, hence meaningful and significant. So this means the subject matter or content is significant if it is selected and organized for the development of learning activities, skills, processes, and attitude. It also develops the 3 domains of learning, namely the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor skills, and consider the cultural aspect of the learners. Particularly, if your students come from different cultural backgrounds and races, the student matter must be culture sensitive. In short, select a content or subject matter that can achieve the overall aim of the curriculum. Next, the balance. Content includes not only facts but also concepts and values. The use of 3-level approach ensures a balance of cognitive, psychomotor, and affective lesson content. For a more detailed discussion of the 3-level approach, refer to Principles and Strategies of Teaching. So, a balanced content is something that is not too easy to bore the above average student, neither not too difficult to turn off the average. It is something that challenges the student to observe the principal balance. No topic must be extensively discussed at the expense of the other topics. So, in the balance, the content of your lesson must include the concept and values, not only the facts by the use of 3-level approach. So, this means when you give a lesson or content, you need to balance the lesson that is not easy to understand by your learner to exercise their brain and to analyze. Next, the self-sufficiency. Content fully covers the essential learning content is not mile wide and inch deep. The essentials are sufficiently covered and are treated in depth. This is a case of less is more. So self-sufficiency, it means that students should be given a chance to experiment, observe, and do field study, because this allows them to learn independently and to help learner attain maximum self-sufficiency. Next, the interest. Teacher consider the interest of the learner, their development stages, and cultural ethnic background. This means the criterion is true to learner-centered curriculum. Students learn best if the subject matter is meaningful to them. It becomes meaningful if they are interested in it. So when you consider the development stages and cultural and ethnical background of your students, must be culture sensitive. You already accept the different cultural backgrounds of your students. And next is utility. Will this content be of use to the learners? It is not meant only to be memorized for test and grade purposes. What is learned has a function even after examination are over. So utility, this means the usefulness of the content or subject matter. Student thinks that a subject matter or some subject are not important to them. They view it useless. As a result, they don't study. Students only value the subject matter or content if it is useful to them. Next, feasibility. The content is feasible in the sense that the essential content can be covered in the amount of time available for instruction. A guaranteed and a viable curriculum is the first in the school-related factors that has the greatest impact to student achievement by Marzano 2013. Feasibility, it means that the subject matter can be fully implemented. It should consider the real situation of the school, the government, and the society. Students must learn within the allowable time and the use of resources available. Do not give them a topic that is impossible to finish. Example, you have only 1 week to finish the unit, but then the activities may take a month for the students to complete it. This is not feasible. So that's all the topics of the levels of learning in the psychomotor domain and how to write a lesson objectives and the guiding principles in the selection of organization content. Thank you.